In this mini project video, we'll be creating a cup with a drink inside and some ice cubes and with a straw inside using splines and spline generators. So I will start by going into the front view, take my spline pen. Now we're going to draw the outline of the cup. So I start at 0. Here I want my cup to be maybe this height, and then I create the outline like this. Okay. Now I want to make sure that all these points or vertices are leveled. So with this, I want to make sure that I have it on the 0 on the x-axis and also 0 on the y-axis. And remember, if you don't have this coordinate manager, this is the icon to trigger it. Here, you click it, it will show up. So I simply put 0 here to make sure that my point is on the, this is the x-axis, it's 0 on the x-axis and also 0 on the y-axis. I do the same thing to this point, 0 on the x-axis only. I don't want to put this point 0 on the y-axis because it will come here, but I want some thickness in on the base of my cup. I want to put this on y 0 so that it will be leveled with this, and I want to select this too. I want it to be leveled on the y-axis. So instead of doing the position, I'll go to the scale of the y-axis here. This is the scale, this is the rotation, and this is the position. Okay, so I go to the scale on the y-axis and enter 0. It will scale it like this, and then it will be leveled on the y-axis. Now I want to level this part to here. So this same too, I go to scale on the y. Now it's leveled. Okay, so I have my spline here. I'll call this my cup. Okay, and then I want to use the generator to make a cup. And remember, the generator that can extrude in a circular form, that's why we have the lathe. So I use the lathe object and put my cup spline inside, and it creates this cup for me. Okay, so let's rename this lathe to cup, or cup generator. Okay, so that we can actually tell the difference. Okay, now I need some ice cubes in there. Okay, so I'll take this ice cubes are in a cube form. Okay, so we use the rectangular spline. For at the moment it's really big, so maybe I give it like let's say 10 or maybe 20 by 20 by 20. Let me bring it up here. Yeah, I think this size of the rectangle is okay, so call it a cube or cubes. Okay, now we need a generator so that we can actually see the cubes. So the same here, go here, we go to the extrude. We're going to use the extrude, then we put the cube inside. For now, the extrusion is too big, so I want to make the depth to 20. And then when you make the depth 20, it will create a complete cube, because remember, this cube spline is 20 by 20, which means 20 by 20. The height is 20, the width is 20. So if you make the extrusion also that the offset 20, it creates like this perfect thing. Okay, so call this cube, and we can actually duplicate the cubes. Okay, so let's take this, hold Control and drag it down. We have another one, so we can actually position it somewhere here. Hold Control, another one here. So for now, let's just say we have 3 cubes. So I can select all these 3 cubes, and I want to put them inside a null object. So I create a null object and select these 3 cubes and put them inside. Okay, then I can move them down. So let's just say, okay, my cubes, they are inside. Okay, now we need to create a straw. Let's go to the front view. Make sure nothing is selected here. Take your spline pen, and I want to create my straw from here and then here. So this is it. This is the spline I want to use for my straw. Okay, go back to the perspective view, and then let's create a circle. A circle spline is kind of big, so let's make it maybe 5 because straws are not that big. So even 5 is kind of big, so let's make it maybe 2. Yeah, 2 it's okay. Now we have to sweep this circle spline along this straw spline that we made. Let's rename it to straw. Okay, and to do that we need a sweep generator. So we have the sweep generator, we put the straw inside, and we put the circle above the straw inside, so it sweeps the circle along this one. And then there's something that we need to do to the circle to have this inside hole. So you select the circle and you come to the object properties inside the attributes manager, and you see we have this thing called ring. So when you check the ring, by default the inner radius is 100, is bigger than even our outer radius. So we set this and we set it to maybe 1.8. so when you do that, we have the inner radius and we have the outer radius, so it creates the hole. Now you have a hole inside your straw. So now this is the actual straw that we have. Okay, and then it's not really touching the glass, it's actually hanging, so let's make it touch. So we take the sweep tool and then let's move it. Yeah, now it's touching the glass. Okay, so now we have a cup. Now it's left with the liquid. Now we're going to use the same lathe tool to create the liquid, or we can yes, we can. Now let's use the loft to create our liquid. So I'll name this liquid generator. And remember, the lofts object splines based on their positions placed into them. So let's go to the front view here. Let's create a circular spline. For the moment it's big. Let's put it in the X and Z axis so that it faces up, and let's change the radius to match the inside. Let's move it up. We want to match, this is the inside of the cup, so we want to match this with the inside of the cup. So let's put it here, and I think 33, let's make it 34. It doesn't matter if it overlaps a little bit. Okay, so 34, it's okay. Let's duplicate this circle in here. We can also do the duplication by holding Control and moving it inside the viewport. So yeah, let me duplicate it. I want the height to be here. Now you see we've duplicated the circle here. So let's change the radius to match the outer of here. So the glass outer is somewhere here, so the inner is somewhere there. So let's make it into maybe 46. 46, yes. Okay. What is this? So now let's go back to the perspective view and put the thing inside this one. Remember what it does, it generates it based on the position. So if I put this circle at the top here, it would do it, but if you have plenty, it just creates a mess. Okay, so the first the circle at the bottom is always at the top inside this hierarchy, and then the next splines follows like that. Okay, so yeah, let me change it. Okay, here I want the eyes to pop up a little bit. So here it is. We have our cup, our liquid, our ice cubes, and our straw using splines. All these are splines, so we can later on change the splines. I can take this spline, select these 2 points, and maybe increase it, decrease it, make it anyhow. Now this is the liquid. Because we are changing the cup, the liquid was modeled to match the cup, so the inside. So that is simply using splines to create an object. I hope you had fun with this project, and then see you in the next video.